In January 2009, an official paper for the Adventist Church Pacific Union, the Recorder, on page 31 published this notice, which, as you can see for yourself here, is a proclamation of prayer for the who? For the new president. It states that 2 weeks ago, Americans elected Barack Obama. We, the Executive Committee of the Seventh-day Adventist churches in this region, hereby pledge our what? What do they pledge? Pledge our support for our new president. We call upon our members to do what? To pray that God will, number one, protect President-elect Obama and his family from harm, and number two, pray that God will grant him and his advisors the wisdom, humility, and courage they will need to lead this nation and the world through the challenges ahead. By this proclamation, on behalf of more than 200,000 constituents, we pray that Obama's presidency will be blessed by God and will be characterized by peace, safety, justice, and opportunity for all of God's children. An official action of the Executive Committee dated November 2008 and published publicly in January 2009. However, the problem is that when Donald Trump was elected president, the church issued no such call for prayer, no such call for wisdom, no such pledge of support, and no such call for protection, which has become especially relevant considering that just a few days ago he was almost assassinated, the bullet missing his brain by mere millimeters. Now, no matter what you believe about politics or Obama or Bush or Trump or Hillary or Biden or whoever, no matter what you believe, it is a fact that God has given authority to the government to legislate civil society. He who obeys the divine law will most truly respect and obey the laws of his country. He who fears God will honor the king in the exercise of all just and, highlight this word, legitimate authority. Now, it certainly is possible for governments to exceed or overstep their God-given authority or fail to exercise their authority where necessary, but the government does have a certain degree of authority to regulate civil society and promote the welfare of their citizens. To deny or to reject that is to argue in favor of anarchy. It is also a fact that governments are not made of robots, but of humans, of people. And it is a fact that from a biblical worldview, Satan and the demons do exist, and they desperately want to control and influence the decisions of leaders in government. It is also a fact that in 1 Timothy chapter 2, Christians were exhorted that supplications, prayers, intercessions be made especially for kings and all who are in authority. It is a fact that Christians have an obligation to pray for their leaders, and interestingly, notice this, the Bible specifically places the priority that this should be first of all, not second, not third, but first. Now, I want the whole world to know that there is at least one member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church who is committed to praying for Donald Trump. But the problem is that I don't like praying by myself. I want to pray with other people. Praying with others is so much easier, so I want to invite whoever is willing to contact me so that we can pray together for Trump. I am saddened to see that church leaders are so willing to call for prayer and wisdom and blessing for one president, but not the other. But this is absurd and ridiculous, and it is self-destructive because of all people. The decisions of the president of the USA especially have enormous worldwide ramifications, which oftentimes directly affect not only our own lives, but our church's ability to evangelize and do missions. Furthermore, in contradiction to Obama's presidency, when Trump became president, not only did the church not call for prayer, but they published an article filled with fear porn that progressives and religious minorities are, quote, reeling in shock from Trump's election, and that the rights of faith groups, quote, are likely to be abandoned by Washington. Well, if that's true, then where is the call for prayer? Is there not a God, and does he not have a people on this planet? And are not his people told to pray for their leaders? If God's people are taken away to Babylon, does the Bible say that they should curse that city and its people or pray for it? They are commanded to pray for it and its prosperity. This word here, pray, is written in the Hebrew imperative. This is not a suggestion or recommendation. No, this is a command. So I am both at once, an Adventist, and I am also an American. We are commanded to love our neighbors, and as Americans, we are commanded to pray for our leaders and for our nation, that God would guide the decisions of our leaders, which, by the way, means that I am just as willing to pray for Biden or Harris as well. Do you want to pray for Biden or Harris? Please contact me and we will pray. Of course, when it comes to specific issues like legalized abortion, my prayer is that God will bring an end to this evil and give us good leaders who will protect the right to life. Of all the people on planet Earth, if you cannot get members of God's church to pray for their leaders, then what hope is there? Furthermore, notice carefully that leaders of the Adventist Church openly pledged support to Obama, who was already on public record as a staunch defender of the right to dismember and kill children by abortion. This is a fact. To cite just a few of many examples, NBC News reported the, quote, sharp contrast between Obama and other candidates, quote, in his rhetoric and voting record, Obama has been consistently in favor of abortion rights. Obama supports abortion rights and is the co-sponsor of a Senate bill called Freedom of Choice Act that would declare it a fundamental policy of the United States that a woman has a right to get an abortion. And if that's not bad enough, to make it worse, CNN and others also reported that Obama disagreed with the Supreme Court ruling to uphold the what? To uphold the Partial Birth Abortion Ban Act. The reason I share this is because this was very public, very well-known news, and yet, despite knowing his radical support for killing children by abortion and destroying the right to life, Adventist church leaders unashamedly, quote, pledge their support very publicly in our own official journals. Now, for those of you who are aware of Adventist church history in North America, this will not come as any surprise. Church leaders are radically and fanatically pro-abortion, and in fact, as I've pointed out before repeatedly, we have never, ever seen any church leader denounce even something as barbaric and evil as partial birth abortion. And they will not do so because Seventh-day Adventists teach that we must use little children as human shields against the future Sunday law. Little boys and little girls need to be violently tortured and murdered so that we can avoid the dreaded Sunday law. Now, if that seems completely stupid and irrational and unbiblical and evil and demonic, then congratulations, you probably are a Christian with a functioning brain who has not been deceived and lied to by shamans and magicians in the religious liberty department like this man here, Alan Reinach. I've already made an entire video refuting his falsehoods, so see that to learn more. Recently, I began to have the conviction to call for prayer for Donald Trump, but I have delayed making the video, but after seeing him almost get his head blown off, I decided I better make the video, so I want to apologize for not making this sooner. Also, this should not have to be said, but because it has been demonstrated repeatedly that there are, unfortunately, some very mean and very nasty people within the Adventist Church who will distort and twist what is said. To be clear, a call for prayer is not a blanket endorsement of the man and his policies. There are some very valid, legitimate criticisms, such as, for example, his support for attacking Iran. As Americans, we are told to just believe Iran is a very evil country and must be destroyed because the mainstream media told us so. And Trump, after almost getting killed, comes out and makes the completely deranged and absurd comment that if he does get assassinated, we should go obliterate Iran. I mean, how dumb do you have to be to make a statement like that? You just gave an incentive to the war hawks to remove you. Anyways, in closing, a Christian who loves Jesus is commanded to pray for their nation and to pray for their leaders of that nation, whether you like them or not. To pray that God will give them wisdom to make the right decision and the courage to follow through and act. To pray that the work and devices of Satan will be frustrated and broken and that our country, our nation will prosper so that we can live in peace and godliness. It is very sad that Adventist church leaders will publicly pledge support and call for blessing and protection and prayer for one president, but not for the other. Please know that of all the millions of Adventists worldwide, there is at least one man who's willing to pray for President Trump, and I want to invite you to please join me. You can contact me at my email, prolifeandrew@gmail.com, and we will schedule a call to pray, which will be something like 5 minutes or something. It's easy and simple to do, and if enough people want to do this, we can schedule some Zoom or online event so that a group of us can pray together. Let me know, prolifeandrew@gmail.com, and may God guide President Trump and bless him with tremendous wisdom and courage and give him great success in doing what is right for the United States of America. Thank you for watching.